Hello and welcome once again to What's Out There, the paranormal podcast from Out There Paranormal. And speaking for you on this episode, we have myself, Nigel.
And myself, Juliette. Hi, guys. We're back.
We are indeed. 2 in a row.
I know.
Getting scary.
What's going on?
I don't know.
Usually we disappear after 1 or 2.
Exactly.
Let's see if we can keep this going
We
this time.
need to have a break.
No, we don't.
For like 6 months. No, but seriously, we are back on the ball now and we're really quite excited about what we're doing. We've got lots of stuff planned, but we'll run through that as we're going on. But after our most recent journey across the vast seas and oceans of the world in search of such strange sea monsters.
And weird snakes.
It's the ones. Slippery things, as you called them.
Right?
Slippery things. Goodness me. Lots of tentacles and that stuff. I know. I'm sinking already, aren't I? It's really bad.
Of course you're not. Not yet. It's
Not
too
yet.
early.
No, it's too early. Give me a chance. There's plenty of scope. We've decided to stay a little closer to home this time. Our own homes, in fact, which is quite interesting. In this episode, we are going to be inquiring, is your house haunted?
Now, both of us have had some recent experiences and we're going to share them with you on our Substack. I've actually just recently finished an article.
You have, and it's very good, very interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah,
For
that's
Substack.
great.
So, based on my own experiences of a recent house move, and I've had some really, really strange things
You've
happening
had
in my
some
new home.
freaky things going on here.
And if you look at what's happened since I've moved house, I've bought this lovely home, and if you isolate each and every occurrence that's happened, you can look at it and think, oh, well, it's this, or oh, it's that. But it's just like one thing after another, and you just start to think, no, this is not.
Yeah, there's too
on.
much.
There's too much going on.
There is,
and
yeah,
it's every single day.
Yeah, some of them you can explain away, but there's
Yeah,
others
that's
that are just
Nigel.
like real what the fuck moments.
Is that what you thought? As
Honestly,
well,
yeah.
reading
Some
it?
of the ones that you said, the bigger ones, especially the ones where the sort of things have moved, things have fallen over, stuff like that. It's just like no.
It's really strange.
Yeah.
And lights going off, and then cameras landing on the floor, and
It's
I
really
don't know.
interesting.
I don't know, but guys, it will be up on Substack, and Nigel's been hammering away as well, working really, really hard.
Yeah,
so-
I'm not actually my own home. My own home is very quiet. We don't have an awful lot going on in my house, but my mum's bungalow
Yes,
is full of fun.
It
and
really is. That's
what I'm going to be
fascinating.
talking about. It's mostly my brothers who have experiences there, but
yeah,
again, weird.
and it is fascinating.
It is
It is
fascinating.
really great.
Completely
I use that word a
fascinating.
lot, fascinating.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting because there's been so many different things with your mum's bungalow, and
Yeah.
both your brothers have experienced similar things.
Similar things as well.
So
yeah.
it does
So
make you
it's
wonder. doesn't it?
interesting. Yeah.
Right. So as we eagerly anticipate Halloween's arrival, you'll be inundated with articles across social media and the internet offering sage advice on how to determine if your house is haunted. As we know, it's a spooky time of year, and we are here to add to the thrill.
We are indeed. So here we go. We can readily recall several of the bullet points that these lists will contain. However, we're not here to list them. We're here to discuss and dissect them with you. So in no particular order at all, we're not going to put them in a top 10. We're just going to
you not?
reel them. Well, no, because that was hard to decide.
Well, that's
Straight in
how-
at number 10, we have physical and environmental signs. See, yeah. Anyway, physical and environmental signs was what I just said. So it's obvious things like temperature changes, where you experience a sudden drop in temperature, especially in specific rooms or areas. And when we say significant drop, it has to be a significant drop.
Yeah, but how significant that?
I would say at least 5 degrees is often the sort of terminology we use.
And how quickly would that be?
Immediate. Yeah, not over a gradual period of time. You can't say, oh, an hour ago it was 20 degrees, now it's 15.
Yeah.
No, it needs to be, it's 20 degrees, boom, shit, now it's 15.
Okay.
That sort of drop in temperature, yeah. Strange smells. Lovely. Unexplained odours such as perfume, flowers, or even sulphur without a logical source. You get other stuff like cigarette smoke and cigar smoke, and pipe tobacco are
Yeah, that's
favourites,
right.
especially if the person you remember in your family was a pipe smoker, then often one comes back. And the other one we've had ourselves is BO.
Oh, yeah.
at the public theatre.
Yeah.
My God, that was bad.
That was stinky, wasn't
Really
it?
awful, really overpowering stench.
And we got a growl, didn't we?
We did. We got to fuck off.
Yeah, and a growl.
Yeah.
And I didn't, because I was in there and I didn't realise you were recording.
Yeah.
And the growl, he growled in my ear.
Growled at you, yeah.
And I was in pitch black, alone.
Creepy.
I didn't know there was any recorder there, and I squeaked because I
God.
got in my ear, and you recorded it, which is amazing.
And me and Phil were going, oh God, can you smell that? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it was stinky.
Yeah, really awful.
He was a horrible spirit man I picked up.
It wasn't very pleasant at all, yeah.
No.
So the other one you get, of course, is flickering lights and electrical malfunctions. The lights turned on and off by themselves. Electronics behaving erratically, or our favourite, we've had loads of times, batteries draining quickly.
That always happens quite often when we're in an investigation, or should I say on an investigation. We've had equipment and the batteries just completely die straight off the bat. When they're fully charged, all the equipment's fully charged, and zoop, it's gone.
What happened there? The old favourite, moving objects, or finding objects in different locations, or seeing them move on their own without explanation. You get disports and apports where something will disappear and then it will reappear somewhere else completely, where, oh shit, where did that come from? Things that shouldn't really be there just appear. Like, what the hell is that? We had one investigation where it was at an old bank in Yarmouth, and we'd used a marble on a previous investigation on flour to see whether it would move, and the marble disappeared.
Wow.
We went back, did another investigation 5 years later, and the marble reappeared.
Was that the one I was on about, please?
Yeah.
God. Yeah.
Absolutely fascinating.
Wow.
And of course there's unexplained noises, as hearing footsteps, knocks, whispers, or disembodied voices when no one is present. And you've had a bit of that recently, haven't you?
I certainly have.
Yes.
It's all documented.
Yes.
You know, I was a good girl. I started my diary.
You wrote it all down. Very important. We'll touch on
We
that
will.
one later, boys and
We will.
girls.
So then we have the sensory and emotional experiences. So, for example, you've got things like a feeling of being watched, or a persistent sensation of being observed, even when you're completely alone.
That's creepy.
It's really creepy.
It is, yeah,
I've had that a lot here.
Not
I've
a
had
nice
that a
one.
lot here.
Right.
Physical sensations, you know, a feeling of being touched, or a cold breeze, or, for example, a sensation of cobwebs on your face.
That's when you get quite a lot in investigations, because they do like to tug at your clothes, don't they?
Oh, yes.
I've had that quite a few times, yeah.
And my hair.
Yeah.
I've had my hair being flicked.
Yeah.
You know, it's very strange.
Yeah.
Emotional shifts, experiencing feelings of dread or sadness or anxiety or anger without an apparent cause, particularly in specific areas of the house. So, you know, a particular location in a property can make you feel different things. Dreams, that's another one. Frequent or disturbing nightmares, or dreams about people that you've never met.
Yeah. And there's been circumstances where people have dreamt about something, and then that person or that thing has appeared in their house. You know, you've had an odd dream about, Shadow Man or something like that, and then that starts appearing in your home.
Or dreams of events as well, when
Yep.
things have happened. I mean, I had one years ago. I dreamt of a plane crash, and the next day Lockerbie happened.
Ooh, yes.
And I wasn't. that was in the very early days, and that really frightened me.
I remember you saying about that.
That really frightened
very
me.
strange, yes. Yeah.
And the next one, of course, is animal behaviour. You know, we've all got cats and dogs, and you know, when there is something strange happening in a property, quite often you'll have animals that act very strangely. You'll have pets that stare at empty spaces or exhibit really fearful behaviour without any discernible reason, or stare at something that isn't there.
Yeah.
You know.
We had a good example of that tonight. We went out for grab something to eat, didn't we? And they were telling us in the pub we're in, they got a statue in the back garden that their dogs won't go anywhere near. They bark at it and stay well away from it, but they don't like it.
Yeah.
They won't go anywhere near it.
And they're picking something up from it as well.
Yeah.
I mean, Izzy, my cat Izzy here, She's been staring at things and
Yes, you
watching
sent me video there,
these.
haven't you? The cat's obviously seen something and
She's
trying to
looking
figure
at
out what it is.
something,
Yeah.
but you know, could she be looking at an insect that's flying past, or you just don't know,
Yeah,
do
or
you?
is it the actual whatever it is that's in your house doing the weird stuff?
Exactly.
And talking about seeing weird stuff, there's visual phenomena. So shadows and apparitions, seeing shadows as smoky shapes or full-bodied apparition figures out of the corner of your eye or directly in front of you. I put both of those down because directly in front of you is better. Obviously, you want to see something straight ahead of you if you can.
Yes.
Because seeing things out the corner of your eye, yeah, that's a common thing. But the thing with your eyes is you've got things in your eyes called rods and cones, and there's less of them on the side of your eyes. So you're more likely to see odd things that your eye can't sort of make out because there's not so many of the receptors there.
Yeah.
So when someone says to me, "Well, I saw it out the corner of my eye," it rings alarm bells a bit because
What about things like, for example, because people in their eyes quite often will have floaters and things like that in your eyes, don't you?
yeah,
So, I mean, that could obviously impact as well.
it could, yes, yeah, if you're prone to that sort of
Yeah,
thing.
because some people, if they have a lot, will have blurred vision.
Yes, yeah,
So it could be shadowing, but they're just actually
yeah,
seeing
yeah,
through a floater in the
yeah.
eye.
You're looking for like things that are there, easy to describe,
Mm,
that are immediate. So you see a shadow figure, and it is a solid-looking figure. You
yeah,
can see it.
yeah,
You see an apparition, it is a clear apparition. You can see it.
absolutely.
Fogs and mist are common ones, but then again, you can put that down to
Environmental
exactly,
factors.
yeah. But there we go. So there's a sort of selection of things that you could have lurking in your house.
Interesting, isn't it?
And yeah, see, contrary to popular belief, it doesn't have to be an old country mansion, an ancient castle, or a ruined monastery to harbour echoes of the past in the form of what might be an unwelcome visitor. Surprisingly, some of the most mundane, ordinary houses can be home to terrifying tales of the supernatural, adding an intriguing twist to our understanding of haunted locations.
So there are specific addresses that, when mentioned, immediately ring alarm bells in the paranormal community. These are not just ordinary addresses, but places with a history of unexplained phenomena, making them hotspots for paranormal enthusiasts.
30 East Drive in Pontefract, 284 Green Street, Brimsdown, Enfield, London, 42 Lock Street, South Shields, and of course,
Oh, the Rectory, Borley Rectory on Hall Road. Now, they're all perfectly normal buildings, all with some rather bizarre stories to tell.
So, to help you slip spookily into Halloween mode, we found a couple of perfectly normal local properties with strange stories to share. So, without further ado, join us on a trip to the fine city of Norwich as we play estate agents and show you around two less than desirable properties that may or may not interest you.
Are they for sale?
Well, they could be. Who knows?
Would you buy one?
Do you know what? Out of these two, there's one I would actually buy.
Oh,
The second one,
oh,
because it interests me.
okay.
Yeah. The first one, not so much so because of the location. And
I
when we
would
get
agree.
to it, you'll know.
Yeah,
For those of you who know the
yeah.
area, you'll understand what we're talking about. But the second one, definitely,
Wow.
because it's so full of history and there's good stories attached to it.
Have
so-
you ever owned a haunted house?
No,
Mm,
I don't think I have.
okay.
No, because our first property was an old terrace place in Southtown in Great Yarmouth. And our second one is like a 1960s bungalow.
Yeah.
But they're both, I mean, I would have thought out of the two, the one in Yarmouth would have been the one that would have anything because it was an old
Yeah.
Dockers cottage, old Dockers terraced
Ah,
house.
yeah,
And it
yeah.
was built in the sort of 1800s. So
Oh, wow.
out of the two, but no,
Mm,
that was a lovely house.
is there?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, you always remember your first one, don't you?
You do.
Mm.
You do.
But anyway, so we're going to take you, like we said, to Norwich. Blast me, boy, a fine city it is. It's lovely, isn't it?
Bye.
So, imagine a cold January night in 1964. We're in Norwich. Betchnow Road. It's on the Larkman estate in West Earlham.
Don't park your car.
I know it's not a choice place.
You won't have wheels.
I imagine it was slightly different in these days, back in 1964, but unfortunately the Larkman's got a reputation, unfortunately. So anyway, Betchnow Road is quiet under the streetlights. One council house looks peaceful from the outside, but inside, the silence feels heavy and the cold seeps in. Something strange was starting to happen.
Mr. and Mrs. Ronald Parker lived with their children, 15-year-old David and 13-year-old Margaret. Their home used to be full of laughter and good memories, but one January night changed everything. They left the house they loved after a night they would never forget.
What made them leave their home? To find out, we can look at Ronald's story as told in the Eastern Evening News. Ronald said that when they first moved in, they sometimes heard quiet footsteps and soft banging, but thought it was just the house settling. At first, it didn't seem like anything serious. 6 years later, things took a turn. Ronald remembered seeing a small woman with grey hair pulled back on the stairs.
Who's there?
The sight shocked him, and he never forgot it. He chose not to tell his family because he didn't want to scare them. Life continued, with the occasional strange noise, until one January weekend when everything changed.
The weekend began like any other, but fear soon crept in. The faint taps and footsteps multiplied, setting everyone on edge. Tension thickened the air. Curtains fluttered as if brushed by invisible hands. When the grey-haired woman returned, her presence sent a shiver of terror through the family. As night deepened, the tension became unbearable. After the children drifted to sleep, a piercing scream shattered the silence from David's room. Mr. Parker rushed upstairs and found the woman looming over his son's bed, silently watching. She vanished in an instant. Dread lingered. Huddled together, the family endured the night. By morning, they knew they had to leave, so they quietly gathered their things and slipped away.
So, was it just a frightened family imagining things? Well, no, because the grey-haired lady reportedly visited other Betchnow Road houses. On Boxing Day 1949, another apparition appeared, this time at a different house, but it was eerily similar to the one seen before.
A young woman recalled sitting by the fire when the ghost appeared in the chair opposite her. She had grey hair, swept straight back. She sat silently, staring. At the time, it was thought the apparition was the woman's grandmother, who had been dead for 22 years.
Creepy.
Just a bit.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Just sitting silently, staring.
Yeah.
What was she staring at?
Exactly. I mean, was it her grandmother? Was it something else?
What did she want?
Yeah. But I mean, the other one earlier, the Parker's experience, I mean, there's elements of what you could call poltergeist activity, but it's not really big poltergeist activity. You've got the noises,
Yeah.
things moving, but it's more of a haunting rather than a poltergeist as such. So I'm looking at it thinking there's two young children there. There's a
Ah.
15 and a 13-year-old.
What is the difference when you say it's more of a poltergeist activity? What is the difference between that and a haunting? Because some people are not going to want to know.
Well,
We've
we've discussed this before in previous podcasts. We discussed it with Kieran O'Keefe because, and we maintain, and I think you agree on this front with me as well, that people are very, very quick to throw the poltergeist label on anything.
Absolutely.
Anything at all.
And it's quite specific.
It is, yeah. Poltergeists, they're always sort of run a set course. I mean, there's, I think Evelyn Hollow has like a ladder, you could call it, of escalation where it starts like this and it moves up and goes to there.
And Evelyn's from Danny Robbins.
Yeah, sorry, she's another parapsychologist. She's from the Uncanny podcast, and she sort of specialises in looking at poltergeist activity. So she works on this sort of ladder where you can run through and say it was this, and there's very specific. It starts very small and escalates and gets up to a point where it's really quite frightening. And they're very specific. But the other thing we were sort of saying, we spoke to Kieran about it as well, is the fact that you need to record everything.
Yeah,
because you said if you're looking at poltergeist, people don't think about the smaller stuff that happens. They'll say that they put the chairs up in a big pile, but then they forget the fact that the room was actually a lot colder than it was before. Things like that. So it's all getting all the information and making sure it fits. You mustn't throw poltergeist labels on things straight away.
And not jump to conclusions.
That's it.
As well.
You've got it. But there we go. An interesting tale from what was basically a very ordinary housing authority property. They used to call council houses back in the day.
Yeah.
But just a normal house. Very similar to what we were talking about earlier with like Pontefract Drive, the one that's got the Black Monk in Pontefract. That's just a normal housing authority house with a horror tale attached to it. So,
but it just creeps me out. Sorry to interrupt you, but just thinking about the lady just sitting in that chair, just staring,
looking at you.
Residual or not?
Don't know.
Intelligent haunting. Did she interact with anyone?
She
was
didn't.
She just there?
But then you've got the with the Parkers example, you've got the fact that there's been the footsteps and the knocking noises.
Yeah.
There's been the moving of the curtains.
Yeah.
There was the scream.
Yes.
And there she was.
Yes.
When I first read it, I thought it was the child that was screaming, but it wasn't because he was asleep. So they'd heard this piercing scream. So what was that? I mean, that just doesn't fit in with everything else. What the old lady's standing there looking over him. So unless she's there looking over him, protecting him,
it's possible
from whatever it was that screamed.
Yeah.
So it's you get to that sort of stage.
That's an interesting theory.
Yeah. You're putting the pieces together and trying to make a case out of it. You have to be careful when you start putting things together that you don't jump to conclusions.
And it's easy to do.
It's
easy to do that as well.
So rather than say, "Oh, it's definitely," what you can say is, "What if it was?" and then open that up to discussion and say, this is what we're thinking. We're going to just throw that one into the mix and see what you think about it, which is the way a lot of cases should be handled. It should be a case of questioning everything that you've got and seeing how it fits and then seeing if you can come to some sort of conclusion about it.
Oh, absolutely.
So, yeah. But anyway, we're back in Norwich for our second tale. Okay, and our next tale takes us into the heart of the city for a bit of shopping or perhaps snooping. A casual stroll across Fire Bridge. Fire Bridge is very interesting.
Why is that, Nigel?
Because they used to do things with witches. I think they might have thrown witches off it into the river to see if they sank or swam. Yeah, so nice. And we're going down onto Magdalen Street, and it's just a short walk to number 19, where you'll find yourself standing outside trash. Yeah, not actual trash itself. It's the shop.
And it's a really cool shop. Have you been in it?
I haven't, no.
It's cool.
Yeah, it's a shop that specialises in recycled clothing. Over the years, this little shop has offered a wide range of items, including antiques, holidays, TV rentals,
holiday decorations.
I know.
Are they offering holidays?
I think I've typed something weird there. Because they shouldn't say decorations. They should just say antiques, holiday, and TV rentals.
I was going to say, I thought they might be offering holidays. If they're offering holidays, I'm going to get myself down to trash.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'll have a holiday. No, it's the previous occupants of this shop. It's seen a number of different retailers in there over the years.
Do you want commission?
No. Not at all. I don't think there'll be anything in trash that would suit me.
Oh,
Although a lot of my clothes are trash, I have
they're
to say.
not. You're always very nice and tidy.
Oh, Jules,
I know.
you're so lovely. Oh, God, where have I
Come
gone
on,
now?
back to the
Sorry,
script,
yes.
back to the script.
Yeah, it's not the retail side that draws our interest in 19 Magdalen Street, because it has a somewhat checkered history and has earned a reputation for being one of the most haunted buildings in Norwich. In the late 1800s, 19 Magdalen Street was home to a public house. Some people claim it was called the Quay Merchant's Arms, but my research indicates it was actually known as the Red Lion. Regardless of its name, it operated as a pub until the early 1960s when it closed its doors and was converted into a retail space. In 1965, the building was leased by Radio Rentals, a company that specialised in renting out televisions and radios. It was around this time that staff began to notice some unusual activities.
Cups of tea and coffee would mysteriously fall from tables and desks with alarming frequency. Initially, this was attributed to staff clumsiness, but the incidents became so common that management eventually banned taking hot drinks out of the staff room. That's a bit mean, isn't it?
It's just a little bit. No more coffee at your desk. It's going to end up on the floor.
Blimey. So, despite this measure, the activities continued and even escalated. I think the spirits were just like, all right, okay then, won't let you do this?
I'm going to do this instead.
Absolutely. Sheets of paper would inexplicably float from one desk to another, and rulers and staplers would bounce up and down on the desktops. The most frightening occurrence was when an old-fashioned typewriter, one that required a significant amount of force to operate, began typing without anyone near it. It produced nothing but gibberish on the paper. This unsettling experience led the staff to urge management to find alternative accommodations.
Eventually, the owners relocated further along the road, leaving 19 Magdalen Street vacant for its new tenants. It wasn't long before Sterling Travel moved in, and soon after the mysterious happenings began again. Once again, the staff urged the management to consider moving, but this time the management was less inclined to do so. The rent on the property was very reasonable, and the owners of Sterling Travel were content to stay put.
So, a few months later into their occupancy, a strange incident prompted them to rethink their decision. One late afternoon, the owner was sitting upstairs behind his desk when he noticed that some clipboards hanging on the wall were swaying back and forth. Now, these clipboards contained details of where the drivers were scheduled to go the following day. He watched in astonishment as they continued to sway. Suddenly, one of the clipboards flew off the wall and landed in front of his desk. Within seconds, the others followed suit, and the amazed owner found himself staring at a pile of clipboards in the centre of the room. It was at that point that he decided it might be prudent to support the staff's request to relocate.
The building remained empty until 1972, when Oxfam became its next tenant. And it is here that our story gains momentum. Following the usual disturbances, things escalated one evening. Just before closing time, an elderly gentleman arrived with 5 or 6 bin liners full of clothes. The staff, pressed for time, took the bags upstairs and left them in the front office. This is the same office where clipboards had mysteriously jumped off the wall a few months earlier.
Now, when they arrived the next morning, the staff discovered that all the bags had been turned upside down and the clothes were strewn all across the floor. Well, almost all of them. Those items that would fit a young woman had been neatly folded and piled in one corner. The Oxfam staff, showing remarkable courage, became convinced that something unusual was happening in that room. They decided to do something that could be seen as either very brave or very foolish. They held a Ouija board session in the very same room.
Is there anybody there?
During this session, a young girl named Sarah revealed herself. She began sending cryptic messages through the glass, using the alphabet laid out on the table in front of her. This added to the mystery of the situation. She had been brought to the building 100 years earlier when it functioned as an inn. However, she was unaware of its past reputation.
You see, in addition to serving fine ales, the landlord in the 1860s offered another service for his customers. For a small fee, there was an attic room where gentlemen could entertain their ladies. While it may not have been a brothel, in the strictest sense, a steady stream of young women accompanied their male friends up and down the stairs throughout the evening.
Now, Sarah was unaware of the reputation of the place she was in, and when her gentleman friend invited her upstairs, she went with him without realizing his true intentions. Once they were alone in the upstairs room, it quickly became evident what her companion was after, and Sarah fought to defend her honour.
No! What are you doing? Get off! Get off me!
Unfortunately, during the struggle that ensued, Sarah was strangled by her gentleman friend and her body was left in the room. Tragically, it seemed that Sarah didn't realise she was dead and couldn't understand why no one was talking to her or paying her any attention. This was why she had been knocking things over and moving objects around in an attempt to gain notice.
Did you hear that?
The Oxfam staff were so taken aback by their experience that they conducted some research and discovered that the young girl had indeed been murdered in the room upstairs when the building functioned as an inn. Unfortunately, though, her attacker was never brought to justice. Believing that the spirit of the girl named Sarah still lingered in the building, the manager decided to speak with the Bishop of Norwich about the situation. After a lengthy discussion, the bishop agreed to perform an exorcism. A few weeks later, the deliverance team arrived at number 90 in Magdalen Street to carry out a bell, book and candle exorcism. A few months later, Oxfam moved to larger premises, leaving the shop vacant once again. The new tenant was Ron's Reptiles, which featured an intriguing combination of spiders, snakes and other exotic animals. Now, Ron was quite handy, and shortly after moving in he decided to indulge in some DIY projects. He installed a partition wall at the back of the shop to create a small storage area. Although it was built simply from plywood with a door in the middle, Ron noticed something quite unusual once he completed the task. The storeroom became incredibly cold, remaining at about 6 or 7 degrees cooler than the rest of the shop throughout the year. This chill suited Ron perfectly, as it provided an ideal environment for anything that needed to hibernate.
Well, what about all the other animals, like the lizards and the snakes and things, because they usually have warmer climates?
Well, that's all right, he won't put them in there.
Well, no, because they wouldn't have liked that very much.
No, he's only put his hibernators and his food in there, I think. The other ones will be in the front bit of the shop.
His food?
What, the animals?
What, the animals' food or his food?
No, the animals' food, not Ron's food.
I don't know, he might have put a salad in there.
He might have had a fridge full of snacks, who knows?
A few cucumbers, and tomatoes and lettuce.
Bit of ham, bit of cheese, you know.
Who knows?
Anyway.
However, getting back to the story.
Exactly.
After thinking about food, Ron's dog was far more reluctant to enter the storeroom. That surprises me if there's food in there.
Well, yeah.
refusing to cross the threshold, even when tempted
With
with food
food.
and drinks. And there was food in there.
Yeah.
So, Ron's wife, Elizabeth, also found the room unsettling, and she only entered when absolutely necessary, and she would exit as quickly as possible. She also often sensed a smell of lavender inside and had the unnerving impression that someone was upstairs. It's worth noting that the sectioned off area lies directly beneath the room where Sarah was murdered over a century ago. Things took a spooky turn when a fire exit sign, which was attached to the wall, suddenly flew across the room and struck Ron in the shoulder.
Oh!
This required him to have to go to the Norfolk and Norwich Hospital for an X-ray, and shortly after this incident, Ron's reptiles swiftly vacated the premises.
Another one gone.
Yeah, another one bites the dust.
Getting through them pretty quickly.
Lizards, snakes and all.
He's zipped out with a whole lot.
Yep,
And his dog and his wife.
and his lunch.
You would hope so. He might have left in the back room. So since then, several short-term tenants have come and gone, but strangely, none have decided to stay more than a few months at a time. Sarah's been seen in the window of the room where she was murdered, which had been bricked up from the inside many years ago, but the windowsill and frame, however, remained intact on the exterior of the building. So she sort of appeared between the brick wall
That's
and the
strange.
window. That's really
I
odd,
was
isn't
just
it?
trying to figure that one
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
So how could she be seen if there's bricks at the window?
They're not. They've actually seen her up against the bricks. The window's there,
Yep.
bricks are behind it.
Ooh.
So she's sort of,
Ew.
yeah.
That's... Ooh.
Ooh, yeah,
Yeah.
very weird.
Gosh. Many years earlier, a delivery driver bringing stock to the rear of the shop happened to glance up at the window, and he saw a young woman looking out of it. When he mentioned this to the staff, they insisted that he must have been mistaken, as the window had been bricked over many years ago. A few weeks later, another visitor reported seeing the young girl watching from the window, and soon after that, a member of the staff also caught a glimpse of someone behind the window frame. As reports of sightings circulated, the window became a local tourist attraction until it was eventually boarded up from the outside. Sarah has remained quiet for quite some time now, but who's to say she won't make another appearance in the future?
As an interesting aside, the majority of this story is derived from various sources that provide a similar narrative. However, we strive to conduct thorough research on all our tales, and we've discovered that the Borderline Scientific Investigation Group, BSIG, an organisation that investigated unexplained phenomena in East Anglia from 1971 to 1982, conducted a paranormal investigation at the shop, while Oxfam was the tenant. Interesting.
Right.
Because I never knew this before, that actually someone had gone in and investigated the place. You hear the story so many times,
Yeah.
but I hadn't heard this. Well, they published a report of the investigation in their quarterly journal, The Lantern, and their findings differ somewhat from those we have shared. And we recommend reading the report yourself, and I'm going to put a link to the journal in the show notes so you can go and have a look.
And where will people find the show notes?
At the bottom on the website where we have the podcasts,
Fantastic.
I always put notes on for all the episodes, and if there's anything worth sharing, you'll find it in the notes as well.
Superb.
So yeah, interesting, because like I said, their report is a little different to the story. It's a classic story. It's Chinese whispers. I imagine there's some element of truth to it, but over the years it's been
Exaggerated.
added to and exaggerated to.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that the fact that this is, I think it still is, I'm not sure, so I've not been on one for a long time. It was one of the stop-off points for the Norwich Ghost Tour.
Yeah, I've done the Norwich Ghost Tour. I did it, gosh, when was it? About 2 years ago?
Yeah,
3 years
something like
ago.
that, wasn't it, with Roy's?
Yeah, but it was, I don't think they went that far down.
No,
No.
no. It makes you wonder whether or not they've sort of dropped it off, or the people that have the shop don't want them standing outside anymore. But
Yeah,
it's shut
possibly.
anyway when they do it. But
So
yeah. So when people ask us, what should you do if you are experiencing strange and unexplained events in your house? What advice do we give?
well, the first thing we say is to keep a diary of events that includes as much information as possible. So this should include the things like date, time, people present, and phenomena experienced, regardless of how minor, because this helps to identify patterns in the phenomenon that could offer a really simple explanation. For example, things like the heating coming on or the pipework or things like
Yeah,
that.
I mean, it sounds really dumb, but if you're saying at 8 o'clock there's a banging noise, and then the next night at 8 o'clock the banging noise was back again, all of a sudden you think, well, okay, that's 8 o'clock. Is it happening every night? Check your thermostat.
Exactly.
Is it your heating? Yeah. But anyway, back to our friends at the BSIG. I think it's quite a good resource. I suggest anybody interested go and have a look because they cover loads of things. But it's just interesting because going through, you can see how they conduct things, and they're quite a good, thorough research group. So
And where would you find that, Nige?
that's going to be in the show notes. I'm going to link to all the Lantern episodes. So you can go and fill your boots.
Super.
It is all based around East Anglia, so it's going to be Norfolk, Suffolk, some Cambridgeshire as well. But it's interesting. But anyway, the BSIG gives some perfect examples of how to keep a diary. In a couple of issues of the journal, The Lantern, they share a diary kept by a family who are experiencing strange phenomena in their house. And we thought perhaps we could share one or two of these entries to give you an idea of what you should be including in your diary.
So, Saturday, September the 18th, Julie, Roy, and myself, conversing at first in low tones. At 10 minutes to 11, a knock on the storeroom door, footsteps immediately after in the spare room. During the night, we had music like a guitar. A baby screaming in terror as if shut in or smothered by bedclothes. Conversing between a man and a woman. A movement which sounded like a cot side being lowered or raised. A crooning as if a mother was doing it to soothe a child. And all of this was continuous and repeated several times. At 5 and 20 minutes to 8, we heard bare footsteps coming down the stairs, and they stopped at the kitchen door. The house was freezing cold, but we had 2 fires, and on the Sunday morning, I found the cot side had been raised in the spare room. Roy, during the daylight, went to satisfy himself. Oh, here we go. And the smut begins.
Oh, Roy.
Well, at least it was during the daylight.
It's during the daylight, yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, God.
Roy, during the daylight, went to satisfy himself
Yeah.
that it wasn't a baby crying. It wasn't.
Oh, God, I'm so sorry. It's just because sometimes you put things in these podcasts and you're just like, why the hell didn't I read that before we actually
At least I
started?
managed to get through that sentence.
Oh, God. Sorry, folks. Like I said, it is my infantile sense of humour, but Roy, it's a class act. Sunday, September the 19th. During the daytime, we heard a baby cry once and footsteps several times, and conversations continued. Roy and Julie went to consult the vicar for advice after the side of the cot had been lowered, although it was unheard by us.
During the night, footsteps and conversing heard, again several times. The bed was disturbed.
But it
Oh,
was
here
Roy.
we go again.
It must have been Roy.
As if it had been lain on
Laying on.
But the room was not used, and it was cold upstairs.
Monday, September the 20th, slept well. Both Gerald and I, but presumed we were overtired. I say, obviously, they were overtired, which is why they were both sleeping.
With Roy?
Was Roy there? No, it's Gerald.
Oh, gosh.
I'm very confused.
Hmm.
There's Roy and Gerald, and not only that, the bed in the spare room was disturbed if someone had slept on it. Obviously, that's where Roy was.
It was
Room not used,
cold
upstairs.
Yeah. Tuesday, September the 21st. Gerald never slept well, as he was kept awake by the sound of footsteps and mandolin music. Cold upstairs. Wednesday, September 22nd. Gerald and I. Lie awake, Gerald and I, hearing footsteps in the spare room and music. Don't know what time we fell asleep. Began to have uneasy feelings about the house. When I woke up at 3:05 a.m, I felt as if someone was there.
Even though we sort of lost ourselves and laughed a lot in the middle of that, it's a really good example of how to keep a diary because it contains so much information. You can sort of feel the tension as it's building,
Yeah,
and you get to that sort of point where she says at the end, it felt as if someone was there.
that's right.
Yeah.
Eerie.
Yeah, really creepy. But this is what we're saying about keeping a diary as a record of events is a good example of how to do it.
Well, it's just keeping a journal, isn't it?
It is really,
You
yeah.
can pick out the key points of what's going on. You can pick out the times it's happening. Even perhaps you can even put in what the weather's like because that can be helpful as
Sure,
well.
yeah.
And then looking at it and looking at these key points and trying to work out if, as you said before, Nige, if it's the heating or the pipes or the plumbing or
Yeah.
something even
be
that's
anything.
happening outside
Yeah.
the property as well. Things like that. And when you keep your journal or your diary, you can quite often sift through and try and work out whether it is something that is supernatural or natural.
Yep, something that's just perfectly ordinary.
Absolutely.
The other thing to remember is obviously if you live in a semi-detached house or a row of terraced houses, sound can carry. So you could be picking up noises from your neighbours. It's actually trying, like Jill said, to find the natural from the supernatural.
Yeah.
Because if there's things in there that we can't explain or you can't explain, then you're looking at something thinking, no, that's very odd. And after this, if you decide you want to call a team in, say us, for instance, then this is what you can expect. I mean, we would take the information that's in the journal, in the diary, have a good look at that, and we would make our own investigation plan. And then on the night when we turn up at your property, we would then sit and do a vigil. If we need to set up some kit, I would set up some kit, and then I would give the homeowners a full report. It's what I've done before with investigations where I've gone to places and sort of then said, this is what we've experienced, this is what we've got. The other thing you can do as well is to research your property. Find out what was there before. How old is it? What information you can find.
And where would you go to find that?
There's actually, at the Norfolk Records Office, there's a really good guide to investigating the history of your house. I will find the link to it, and again, I'll share that in the show notes because it's relevant for any property, not just in Norfolk, it's anywhere, but it does sort of tell you about how you can research a lot further. If you've got an old property, you can go to census records and find out who lived there before.
I need your help with my house, Nige.
I'm going to do that for you. And we've actually proven that census records work quite well because we were called to a property of a friend of ours and you picked up the fact that it was a Methodist minister or
Yes.
minister, a priest of some kind in the house.
Yeah.
And you said his name is George.
Yes.
What did I find?
You found it.
A minister called George
Yeah.
who was
they
living
picked
in
up.
that house.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it's picking up stuff like that that makes it really interesting. And you're looking at other things as well. You're looking at what was there, what's nearby. Because often you find barrow mounds, burial mounds, ruins. There's one property that was investigated in West Somerton that had the ruins of a leper hospital near it. And we'd investigate the church a bit further along, but the house nearby, someone told me that the residents in the house had seen hooded figures in their garden. But yeah, that's all part and parcel of what we do. So is your house haunted? Who knows?
That's it.
But there's a few guidelines for you to have a look at and sort of keep a diary, keep track, do your research. And if in doubt, who are you going to call?
Oh, and at that point, I was going to say us.
Well, you could call us. We're a lot safer.
And we're nice.
We are nice.
And we don't get Mr. Stay Puffed and all that kind of shenanigans.
I wouldn't
going
think about that.
Never cross the streams.
I wouldn't cross the streams. No. Yeah, we wouldn't rock up with proton packs in a car with a very loud siren, although I'd love to.
Kieran O'Keefe would be rather disappointed. He's always wanted a proton
He
pack.
has a working one too.
Yes.
Would you let him loose with it?
No.
No. On that bombshell, I suppose it's time for us to go.
It is.
So it's good night from me.
And it's good night from me.
Thank you for listening once again, and we'll be back again soon.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.